Well, I appreciate you taking a little bit of time for me, man. How is everything? Obviously, the bare knuckle fight just a couple weeks away. I saw some training footage posted the other day with Lorenzo Hunt. So how's everything going?
Oh, dude, he's putting me through absolute hell. I said leading up to my last fight that the rest day was going to be my fight. This time, I fully mean that the rest day will be my fight. I'm so exhausted. My days consist of just waking up, training, sleeping, and then waking up again and going back to training and then sleeping. And I can't eat. I have to get down to like the lowest weight I think I've had to get to in a long time. I signed the contract at like 195. So
yeah, I saw on Instagram where you're 177, something like that now.
Yeah. That's what I'm at right now.
Wow, that's crazy, man. So, all right, let me just ask the obvious question. I know you did boxing. Obviously, you got the social influencer thing down, but why bare knuckle? I mean, this is not for everybody, man. Like, let's be honest. Like, there's a lot of MMA fighters I talk to, like, nope, would never do bare knuckle. That's not for me. Why did you get interested in doing bare knuckle?
Well, to be honest, I wanted to be the prettiest person to step in that square circle. No, all jokes aside, I fought 2 years ago, lost. I talked a lot of shit. And I've always wanted to come back to like the boxing scene because it's just like a fun thing for me to do. By no means am I trying to do this like professionally for like a long time, but it's fun for me. I thought, what better redemption to come back to? I could have fought any other influencer, even any other influencer on bare knuckle. But I thought, why not do a bare knuckle boxing match? Because one, the sport is blowing up everywhere. Two, I'm crazy enough to do it, and I'm going to be the only influencer to ever do it. And then three, fight somebody in their prime, or not even at their prime, but a 3-0 bare knuckle fighter in their own sport. You know, it's awesome. I thought of like the virality sense behind it. I also am not scared to get punched in the face or scared to punch someone in the face bare knuckle. It's going to be a great experience, August 11th.
Yeah, let me backtrack because I remember I covered your boxing match a couple of years ago. And listen, there's easier ways to make money. I mean, you know what I mean? Like you could do a lot of things. You're making money and you're not boxing. You know what I mean? But I'm fascinated by the guys who do it. And the guys who are legitimately interested in the sport. Again, you could be a fan of the sport, doesn't mean you have to get involved. I love mixed martial arts. I trained jiu-jitsu for many years, trained wrestling for many years. I don't really have a desire to go in there and get punched in the face for a living or even once or twice just for the fun of it. So was fighting just something you were interested in? Like, cause this is not like, I assume you're not just doing it for the money. Like obviously you've got a career outside of combat sports. You don't need this, you know what I mean? So was this something you've always been interested in? Like going back to the boxing thing, was it just something like, hey, would you like to do this? And that got you interested? Like what actually got you interested in combat sports?
I wanted to tell my kids one day that I did it. And then I want to show them like videos, like of me knocking out like Jabrez on August 11th. You know, I want to show them like those highlight reels, like, hey, my dad's a badass. But I saw like influencers when I started, being an influencer when I was 14 years old. And a lot of people when I was around 17, I saw them doing these like boxing matches, punching each other in the face. Like I fought like a lot as a kid. I was a wrestler as a kid. And they're getting paid for it. I thought it was just like a super sick idea because one, I'm not scared to get punched in the face. I like punching people in the face. It's fun. I've always wanted to do it. And it's going to be a great story down the line.
Yeah, and it seems like, at least judging by your videos and everything, I mean, you're taking it seriously. You and I both know, I'm sure you've seen, because I've covered a lot of influencer boxing. Some guys don't take it seriously. Let's be honest. They're stepping in there looking like they've never trained a day in their lives. It's for fun. You know, they're doing it for the attention, the clout, whatever. And that's fine. Like, I'm not going to fault anyone for doing it for whatever reason they do it. But you know, you and I both know there's a lot of guys who step in there who look like they never punched a bag a day in their life, and they're trying to do this. It seems like you are taking this seriously. And as you said, you're not, saying you're going to be a bare knuckle fighter full-time starting tomorrow, but it seems like you are taking this seriously. Like, this is different than some of the guys who are just going in there for, the followers or the clout or whatever.
Yeah, no, well, ideally I don't want to go in there and get battered. I think it'd be way more viral if I beat a 3-0 bare knuckle fighter. So when I do something, I take it fully serious. Last camp, I was doing it mainly focusing on the promotion and the entertainment side, but this time I'm fully focusing on the training side, the training aspect of everything. So there's a lot of different rules in bare knuckle versus like regular boxing. So that's what Lorenzo Hunt is helping me with. There's a lot of grappling involved, a lot of moves that are legal in regular boxing, but legal in bare knuckle. So it's going to be a dirty fight. And I plan to be a dog August 11th.
Can I ask, like, have you found it more enjoyable with the bare knuckle rules? Because I remember years ago, and I'm sure, in doing your preparation, maybe just heard of it, the fight happened a couple years ago between Artem Lobov and Paulie Malignaggi. I don't think anyone in their right mind would say that Artem Lobov was a better boxer than Paulie Malignaggi. But when you added in the bare knuckle rules, the clinching, grabbing the head, pulling the neck, the blood, all these little things, like Paulie, like he came out and said, it was a totally different animal than what I thought it was going to be. It was totally different. And Artem beat him. Like it was, in a pure boxing match, I don't think anyone would have picked Artem to beat him, but he beat him in a bare knuckle fight. You obviously trained for a boxing match a couple of years ago. Now you're training for bare knuckle. Like, have you enjoyed this more? Have you enjoyed the process more? You mentioned you're a wrestler. I mean, right away, like the clinching aspect of it's much different than you can do in this sport versus what you could do in your boxing match.
I definitely enjoy the grappling aspect more because, granted, I fought the guy on his promotion, but every single time I would tie up with Austin McBroom, I would get yelled at by the ref, and every time he would do it to me, he wouldn't get rid. Again, it was his promotion, but I like the grappling aspect of this camp, and I'm learning a lot more of like what I can do for this bare knuckle fight, and I feel like it's going to work a ton in my favor.
Yeah. Do you feel, I mean, listen, I know this is a tough question to answer, a couple weeks out from the fight, but, when you did your boxing match, like if you did your boxing match and said, okay, I did it, it was checked off the bucket list. I'm going to walk away and go back and doing my own thing. Okay. That's awesome. Here you are a couple years later. Now you're fighting in bare knuckle. Is this in your head? Is this like a one and done, like bucket list item, or are you enjoying it enough to think like, again, you're not saying it's a career, but like enough to say, maybe I would do it again? Or is it really going to depend on how the fight plays out?
It depends on how the fight plays out, but I don't want to end my record without a win. So if I win this, I'll be 1-1, and then my OCD is going to take over, and I'm going to be like, okay, now I need to be 2-1.
Yeah. Has it like, I watched the video with Lorenzo, and that dude's a Punisher, man. He's a beast, obviously, and a very big dude at that, a 2-division champion in BKFC. Like, when I say enjoy it, like, I know training is not necessarily enjoyable because you're in there beating your body up and beating yourself up and learning and doing things like that, but has the process been enjoyable? Because martial arts, for whatever it is, boxing, martial arts, like, there is a journey there, and there's discipline, there's all these things you learn. Like, have you enjoyed the process of going through this to get ready for the fight in August?
I feel like all of this hard work is going to feel great once I knock out G Perez.
Yeah. What is your impression of him? Because we all saw this coming. We all know the weigh-in that happened. He comes over and he tries to start some stuff with you. He goes out, wins this fight. We know, like, literally hours later, the fight's booked. What do you make of him and make of, I mean, listen, you're doing what a lot of guys have not done. I mean, and again, let me be clear. I'm not faulting anyone. If Logan Paul, Jake Paul, anyone out there who's done this, Austin, whoever's done this, and they only want to fight influencers, that's cool. I got no problem with that. But you're not taking on a guy who's just like, he's known for having a TikTok page or being an Instagram influencer, YouTube. You're taking on a guy with a legitimate 3-0 record in bare knuckle boxing. Like, that's a big step up from what a lot of quote unquote influencers would do in combat sports.
I mean, yeah, this was like a little one up on the Paul brothers and every other influencer doing it. But also I do want to do more influencer boxing things. So it's like, I do this, I get to experience like a bare knuckle across my jaw or across my like temple. I get to feel like an actual punch. And then I go into like these stupid influencer fights and I'm like, these punches feel like nothing. And I take over that scene. It's like a win-win scenario for me, honestly.
Yeah. Yeah, it's wild, man, because like I said, like I have respect for anybody who steps in there, and especially because you seem like you're taking it seriously, because like I said, there's easier ways to make money, right? Like you don't need this. Like, this is not like, man, I got to get this paycheck to make my rent. That's not what you're going through. So you're doing this voluntarily. You're doing it because you want to be there. That says a lot, because let's be honest, there's a lot of guys who are quote unquote influencers who would never in a million years do what you're doing. I mean, you said a one up, you're getting a big one up on those guys right now. Let's be honest. Cause I guarantee you there's a lot of those. I guarantee you, like, I know Jake. I've interviewed Jake many times. Like, I don't know that Jake is going to sign up and be like, yeah, let me go do a bare knuckle fight.
No, I don't think any other influencer is ever going to do it again. Especially when they see what happens. Yeah, no, it's a brutal sport. But I mean, I'm not scared. I'm not scared. I want to do this for myself.
Can I ask, like, the honest question? Like, we always hear in this sport, like, you learn more from a loss than you do from a win. I know it's cliche, but what was the biggest lesson learned in that boxing match that you can carry into this one? Like, not just like the punches or anything, but like, what was the biggest lesson learned in that one fight you had that you kind of carried with you? Was it just like an anger, a rage of like not getting the win? Like, can you give me any idea of like what you took away from that one that will help you in this one?
I think focusing more on the training rather than the entertainment. I'd only focused on the entertainment. I wasn't taking the training seriously. I wasn't focusing on what was going inside my body. I can make up a ton of excuses, but I lost that fight. This fight, I'm not losing.
Yeah. This is a weird question to answer, but when you're training for bare knuckle, you're not necessarily training with bare knuckles, but you do try to condition yourself for it. So can I ask, like, how Lorenzo's getting you conditioned for that? Because it is weird, right? Like, when you're sparring, you're not in there with bare knuckles. Like, you're not trying to punch your training partners with bare knuckles. How have you kind of taken to that? Have you done any conditioning? Can you even condition yourself for like what it's actually like to hit someone with a bare knuckle and or get hit with a bare knuckle?
I mean, we've been working on strengthening my knuckles. That's why my knuckles kind of look like this right now. They're like all beat up and stuff. But getting punched by bare knuckles, I mean, there's not really much you can do without rattling my brain, right?
Yeah.
I think the only thing to train is my knuckles because I don't want to hurt my knuckles when I'm in there.
Yeah, absolutely. Two last questions. I'll get you out of here on this. Let me ask real quick. Give me a prediction. How do you see this one playing out? Because bare knuckle's different in that it's 2-minute rounds. They move quickly, right? Like it's not boxing. You mentioned the rules are different. A lot of different things can happen in there. And I know you want to go in there and get a win, but can you give me an idea? Like, how do you see this playing out?
I watched all of G's fights. I noticed he sits back and he waits for his opponents to go wild. I'm going to be super patient. I'm going to wait till he fucks up and then I'm going to hit him with a big shot like that. I'm not going to go in there like the random gas station hired people that go in there and fight him. I'm going to fight him like a technical boxer and I'm going to hit him hard. And I don't think he understands and he's underestimating how hard I actually do hit.
I love it. And last thing before I get you out of here, Bryce, on another note, you were working or are working. I know you probably put everything to the side getting ready for this, but you're working on a horror film, if I'm not mistaken.
We're finished that. That's why we're doing this.
Yeah, I asked. So this last weekend, I was at San Diego Comic-Con. I met the Philippou brothers who did the new movie Talk to Me, and they were influencers, Raka, and one of them actually fought on the Logan Paul KSI card years ago. Can I ask, are you excited for the world to see your horror movie? Because I tell you what, they did a fantastic job with theirs. You would ask me 2 years ago, would a couple of guys who are known as social influencers make a great horror movie? Well, damn, they made a great horror movie. So can I ask about your horror movie?
We've got some pretty big people behind this. I mean, again, it's like me and 50 Cent, like a ton of other people. Ryan Kavanaugh, producer, the writer of Saw. Like it's a pretty legit movie.
I know Paige Van Zant's in it as well. I had talked to her.
Yeah, she was in it. It was cool working with her.
Yeah, well, I look forward to seeing it, man. I'm a big horror movie fan, if you can't tell what's behind me here. So I appreciate
I'm a horror movie fan too.
I love it, man. I'm looking forward to seeing it. Well, obviously, man, best of luck the rest of the way of training. I know training camp's almost wrapped up. Try not to beat yourself up too badly. And I cannot wait for the fight in August, man. I appreciate you taking a little bit of time for me.
Thank you so much, man.